Thanks for joining us from the Ohio AgNet Voice You Know with the News You Trust studio, sponsored by BASF, where the performance of Veltima fungicide can take your best results even further. Well, there's a new name in Ohio farm machinery focused on meeting you right at the farm. Let's hear more from the CEO of Ag Revolution about how they're bringing equipment and service solutions directly to local producers with a farmer-first mindset.
Joining me is Stacy Anthony. They've got a word called Farmer First, and I'm going to ask him to explain that and why you use the term so producers out there won't have to ask.
We want to be known as the most farmer-first agricultural company that the customers have ever seen. When I take a look at everybody involved, not only at Ag Revolution, but even connected through our manufacturing partner, AGCO, every time I look around, there is executive people from AGCO, there's engineers, there's manufacturing, supply chain people out on farms. We want to be on farms. We go to the farms to get our solutions. We go to the farms to get the advice, and we go to the farms to gather the opinions of what matters most. And so when you look at Ag Revolution, you look at our manufacturer AGCO, we intentionally are being farmer first because we think that matters. If you take a look at a lot of other manufacturers, sometimes it's easy to get into a rut and start looking at other things that are important, right? Sometimes it's maybe what's good for you or what's good for your processes or your manufacturing, or, you hear a lot about those kind of things. You kind of start looking inward. We wanted to just do opposite of that. And by Farmer First, we are always looking first at what the farmer needs, what can help him to be more profitable, what technologies does he need to help him be more efficient. So Farmer First is a first look at what matters most, and that's to the farmer.
So ratified by producers, Farmer First is a pledge from Ag Revolution. Check them out at agrev.com, and you'll see more there.
Thanks, Dale. Well, Lori Boyer reports on a controversy over dairy-free butter.
A new product from Country Crock labeled dairy-free butter has sparked concern within the dairy industry. Mislabeling non-dairy products as butter is a violation of federal standards, according to Chris Galen, executive director of the American Butter Institute.
Butter has rebounded, and things like margarines and plant-based spreads are in decline. So if you're a manufacturer of those imitation butters, fake butters, what do? You decide to label yourself as something called dairy-free butter, which is a total oxymoron, because you can't have butter unless it comes from a dairy ingredient like cream. But this is a concern because we see these products in the marketplace.
The American Butter Institute has asked the USDA to intervene, saying Country Crock's dairy-free butter not only violates federal standards, it misuses the term butter.
The good news here, hopefully, is that, there's a lot of interest in the part of the Trump administration to have people eat more real foods, more whole foods. This Country Crock product is a combination of canola and palm oil, but it's not legal to call it that, at least not in our view, and hopefully that'll be the view of the FDA. And we're hoping that in this whole era of the Making America Healthy Again and this commission report that came out, they will look at this complaint that we have more sympathetically.
The American Butter Institute's executive director, Chris Galen.
The USDA will adopt new regulations on evaluating the environmental effects of grazing and other agency-approved activities, saying the rules will follow directions from President Trump and the U.S. Supreme Court. The regulations will guide the agency's execution of the National Environmental Policy Act. Ag Secretary Brooke Rollins said the regulations are intended to eliminate unnecessarily long and cumbersome environmental reviews, saying USDA has been hamstrung by overly burdensome regulations for decades. The markets, they're next.
Friday, July 25th is Recovery Ohio's Mental Health Day at the Ohio State Fair. Visit the Department of Mental Health and Addiction Services, the Department of Insurance, and other state agency booths. Join us on Friday, July 25th for Recovery Ohio's Mental Health Day at the Ohio State Fair. We'll see you there.
Nearly 90% of farmers say that financial worries, constantly changing market conditions, and other uncontrollable variables take a toll on their mental well-being. Add in the weather and family dynamics, well, it's a lot to handle alone. But did you know farmers and their families can receive free confidential services from licensed professionals? Support is available 24/7 to help with the challenges you face. Look for Farm Family Wellness Alliance under the Resources tab at farmfoundation.org. Take care of yourself. Your well-being matters.
The market's brought to you by Seed Consultants, simply better performance. Online at seedconsultants.com. At the Board of Trade, July corn $4.18 down 13.5. December corn $4.20 3/4 down 16.25. July soybeans $10.31 3/4 down 24.5. November beans $10.20 3/4 down 28.5. July wheat down 8 cents at $5.39 3/4. At the Mercantile Exchange, August cattle $215.90 up $1.85. July hogs $106.95 down $1.02. September feeder cattle $313.52 up $4.15. This is the Ohio AgNet.